Hi, welcome back to Angel Messages Sunday. I'm excited to share a message with you today. And today's timely message from the angels, the Council of Wisdom, as they call themselves, includes some information about our divine design and duality, our primary purpose. What is our purpose here, and how to rise above the drama of our world? Don't we need that right now? It's a beautiful message, and I found it both relevant and helpful. And if we haven't met before, I'm Julie Clough, and I had a profound spiritually transformative experience following the passing of my two youngest children, David and Carrie, in a car accident on Mother's Day in 2007 that culminated in a miraculous healing 3 years after their passing and awakening into a deeper understanding of spirit, why we're here, the connection to the other side, all the things. Today, I work as a spiritual medium, which means that I assist people in connecting with their loved ones and their spirit team for guidance. And I channel messages from the angelic realm from a collective, an angel collective that call themselves the Council of Wisdom. So let me share with you the message, and then we will. So what I'm going to do is share with you paragraph by paragraph the message that I received today, and then we'll just talk about it for a minute. And I would love, 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 love for you to include in the comments, how this message lands for you. What did you find most helpful? What was new information for you? What do you question? Or you can just leave a heart. Just let me know you're there, because it's super fun to connect with you and to create this community. So here's the first paragraph. All is well. All is within divine design. It will not appear to be in divine design because, in your estimation, divine design means that everything is running smoothly. Everything is as a calm lake, and yet that is not your experience in this realm of existence. Okay, they're reminding us that everything that we're participating in right now has a divine underlay to it. Like, we are divine. We are part of the creator. We are creator experiencing ourselves in this realm. So let's go on to the next paragraph. Your experience in this realm of existence is duality. It's an experience of duality and having the ups and downs and the darks and the lights and the positives and the negatives. That is the experience of earth life. So duality means that we're having the ups and downs, the good, the bad, in divine, and they're going to go more into this in the next paragraph, but in our heavenly realm, as we might call it, in the spirit realm, in when we're not in this being that we are right now, in this suit that we're wearing, in this avatar that we are being in right now, there's love, there's peace, there's calm, there's joy. And we don't experience the ups and downs, the darks, the lights, and so forth. So this is what they said in the next paragraph. For that is not in existence in the heavenly realm, as you would call it. They're referring to the duality. That is not in existence in the higher dimensions of reality, in the higher dimensions that you would call the angelic realm. That is not the experience of beings that are not in the third dimensional world, but you are in third dimensional world, and you can live within the third dimensional world and be in fourth dimensional state, even begin to experience fifth dimensional moments, just as Julie has at certain avenues in her life when she has experienced lost time. Well, that was interesting that they referred back to me. But yeah, they're just, again, like the duality that we experience here is not the same as what we experience on the other side. When we came here to have this experience, there's lots of philosophies on why we're here, and they touch on some of that in this message, and they touch on it some more as we go further. But you might be curious about what they referred to. I was curious when they said you may even begin to experience fifth dimensional moments, just as Julie has at certain avenues in her life. I can think of a few times in my life when that has happened. Maybe you've heard me talk about the whale story, um, in which I may end up. They've brought my attention to so many lessons within the whale story. I'm thinking about actually holding a class about that particular experience and how we can apply the divine messages that were within that experience. But the other experience that I don't know that I've ever shared anywhere else, but definitely felt like some kind of fifth dimensional experience was a couple, 2 or 3 years ago. I was on a road trip with my husband. We were on an anniversary trip, and we've been in different places spiritually. And we both come from a religious, like Orthodox religious background, and neither one of us are practicing anymore. But at the time, I just felt that he thought things differently about what I thought than what I was actually thinking. And so I asked him on this road trip. It was about a 4 hour road trip. We were about 15, maybe 20 minutes into the trip. And I said, "What do you think?" And he said, "I think you think I'm going to hell." And that, basically it's from this religious programming that says, hey, if you don't believe in this, that, or the other, then you're going to the wrong side. And when he said that, I said, nothing could be further from the truth because I experience him. And I told him this, I experience you as this mighty, divine being. I feel like nothing is going to surprise him more than to meet himself on the other side. And as I was sharing this with him, because I truly feel like we all are, but of course, as my husband and someone I love and someone I've spent so much time with, I truly feel that about him. And when I shared that with him, and I was sharing those things with him, I literally left time and space. I don't even know, I can't even remember what was said past that. But what was so shocking was that what felt like 15 minutes later, like we were having this discussion for 15 minutes, which means we would have been 30 minutes into a 4 hour drive. And I looked up and we were at our destination. We were literally at our destination. I don't know what he experienced in that moment, but I was in utter shock. So when they talk about me experiencing fifth dimensional moments, I've never thought of it that way until they brought my attention to it with this message. So enough about me. All right, next paragraph. We bring your attention to human being. For your most important avenue at this time is to be in the being. Many of you are moving at a fast pace and are not conscious of being. Beingness is felt when you slow down, you breathe, you bring your attention to your inner thoughts and feelings, and you bring your attention to your higher self. In those moments, you experience yourself as a being rather than a doer. Wow, so much in this paragraph. I feel like I I share every paragraph with you and then I say, wow, because I'm just always amazed at the way that they frame things, at the understanding that they bring, and this idea of being versus doing. When somebody says, introduces themselves to you and they say, tell me about yourself, like we don't think in terms of being, we think in terms of roles that we play as a doer. Isn't that interesting? I actually don't even know what it would look like if somebody said, "Well, tell me about yourself." I'm going to have to ponder on that one. Like, what would that actually mean if I saw myself as a being versus a doer? It's an interesting thing to ponder. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Let me know. Um, okay, so the next paragraph. You have been conditioned to be a doer. And as you move into the ascension, into the next realm, into the next existence of earth life, which is coming to fruition in the coming days and in the coming years, you will be more in the being than in the doing. And now is the time to begin to experience the beingness. For as you experience the beingness, you are connecting to your higher self. You're connecting to your guides, to your angels, to the realm that can truly help you and assist you in living at a higher frequency. Right now, our frequency is really important. There's so much energy in the world right now. Um, if you are a student of astrology, if you're aware of astrology, if you're aware of how astrology affects us, we have 7 planets in the sign of Aries, which is the first sign of the zodiac. It's the igniter, it's the starter. It it is all about that. It really is about our awakening. I mean, it's truly, it's the starter, it's the beginning, it's the birth. That's what we're doing right now. We are in the birth canal. We are breathing life into a new form of existence. It's really, truly remarkable. I mean, let me know what you're experiencing right now because I don't want to go into all the details of what I'm experiencing right now, but definitely feeling it. And we're being invited into the next frequency of our existence. And their next paragraph is going to help us with that. I do want to caution anyone from being concerned when they say, you're being invited into the next existence of Earth life in the coming days, in the coming years. We've already been in this. We've already been in this for several years now. Um, Many people point to 2012. I would also point to 2008. We have seen different patterns. Of course, 2020 was a big focus year of shifting our identity, the way we do life. And in some cases, maybe you experienced this. I think I did to a certain extent. Life got kind of quiet in 2020, depending on what your roles were. But in my life, life got pretty quiet during that time period. We were actually in the middle of a move. We sold our house. We moved out of our house that we had sold the week that everything shut down, the week of March 13th. And we moved into an apartment because we were waiting for our next home to be ready to move into. So it was a definite slowing down of a lot of things. But all this slowing down, so what's coming to me right now, actually, as I'm sharing this with you, is that it's tempting. And I'm actually realizing I've been doing a bit of this lately, and they're kind of calling my attention to it too. It's tempting when things are moving and shifting so fast and things feel a little tumultuous and a little chaotic to want to do more. But I think what they're inviting us to do is to connect within, connect to our higher self. And the next paragraph is going to give us more insight about that. I'm remembering that in that paragraph, they do give us more insight about that. So hold that thought because this next paragraph actually speaks to this whole idea. All right. As you bring your attention to that frequency, the higher frequency, you raise your personal frequency and it allows you to experience the 3D, the existence we're in now, in a different manner. You experience it differently. You are more the observer than the participant. Step out of the participation of the drama of the 3D and become the observer. Become the student of the 3D rather than the participant, much like you would watch a movie or a TV show. You're observing, you're not participating in the drama. And so we do invite you to step out of the drama, to step out of the participation of the things that are no longer serving your higher purpose. Okay. And they're going to talk about the higher purpose in the next paragraph, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this is beautiful. And as I revisit it again, I'm thinking, wow, what would it look like if we were the observer of the drama, as the oldest child of the oldest child of the oldest child, I was conditioned to feel responsible for everything. And depending on what your life experiences were, you may have been conditioned to feel responsible for everything too. And even within my religious background, I was conditioned to feel like I needed to bring the word of God to everybody. Like I was responsible for saving people. If people had stepped away from the church, I was responsible to bring them back. If people weren't in the church, I was responsible for gathering them into the church. Basically saying my way is the only way, our way is the only way. And that is not actually true. Like God, creator, universe, source is loving and benevolent to all people, and everybody returns back to the spirit realm, regardless of their circumstances here. So, little side note, but let's move on. Last paragraph as they talk about our higher purpose. For you have a higher purpose. And we hear many of you saying, but what is my higher purpose? And we wish to not confuse you or to confuse the message. For your higher purpose is being. Your higher purpose is becoming the observer. Your higher purpose is in awareness. Your mind has been conditioned to be a being of doing. And so, therefore, when you think of purpose, you think of doing rather than stepping into the light of the eternal being that you are. When you step into the light and the power of the eternal being which you are, you will have a different experience here and now. And this is our invitation with much love, with much support. We say goodbye. Whew. Wow. 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 Yeah. Like I'm feeling this message. I hope you're feeling it too. I hope you're feeling the release of any pressure to be doing something different other than being your higher self. And when we connect to our higher self and we step into being our higher self, this is not about perfection, okay? Like I say this all the time and I want you to hear this. It still may look very messy for you, okay? I watch someone that every time she says a negative thing, like it still may look messy, she says, cut, clear, cancel. Yes, cut, clear, cancel. We don't want to carry those message and like create those experiences, but we are in the 3D world and we are here to alchemize the pain that we experience, the challenges that we experience. We are here to be the observer, to be the being. But I just love this message so much. And so I don't really want to put any more words around it. I actually want to reread this last line so that we can end this video in this higher perspective, this higher light. When you step into the light and the power of the eternal being which you are, you will have a different experience here and now. And with this, our invitation with much love, and this is our invitation with much love, with much support. And so I will end here. Thank you for being here, and we will see you next time.